What's going on, everybody? My name is Jack Kelly, host of Point to the Spot, a U.S.-based podcast focused on the world of football. Joining me today, as always, is my entirely bonkers friend, Reed Hammond. Reed, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm doing good.
You're back to your all right phase.
Yeah, but like we were talking, this is off air, but we were doing some, normal distribution, like standard deviation analysis of my emotions. And like I would like all right is the 0. Like I'm in more like a 0.5 to 1 sigma away from all right. You know what I mean? Like I'm up. We're doing good.
Math means very little to us.
Once
again, joining the show, we have a future presidential candidate, Ball for Prez 2020. I can't stand Donald Trump's America. Andrew Ball. Andrew, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been a long day, but now that it's over, it feels good. Weekend's almost upon us.
We're getting there.
We are getting there. Well, there was some midweek action this week. However, it only featured one of our beloved teams from England. And actually, it was none of our beloved teams, but a beloved team from England. Two of our beloved teams. I'm sorry. I forget Leicester exists sometimes. So we can just go ahead and dive right into Tuesday's Champions League matchup. It was jam-packed full of action. Of course, 14 goals coming from just 2 matches. I do believe it is the highest scoring Champions League match day in the knockout stage ever. I'm pretty sure I saw that.
I'm not sure about match day, but I know that was the highest scoring match in a knockout round ever.
Yeah, the 8 goals thing tied the Chelsea-Liverpool 4-4 draw a couple of years ago. By a couple, I mean like 2012. But let's get into yesterday's matches. Like we said, lots of fireworks. Of course, Atletico Madrid traveled to Bayer Leverkusen, made the trip to Germany to face the company-owned product of the Bundesliga, and it was jam-packed. Atletico kind of got out to the jump right away, bagging goals in the 17th and then 25th minutes. Of course, Griezmann once again grabbing a Champions League goal, typical fashion. Bellarabi for Leverkusen, getting a goal back right at the beginning of the second half.
Class goal.
It was, yeah, that flick was phenomenal. And then the game was wrapped up with the Gamiero penalty right down the middle. Keeper should have done better because he touched it. Leverkusen had some just, had a brief moment of where they thought they were going to get back in it as Atletico Madrid's goalkeeper and their center back miscommunicated, and the ball ended up in the back of the net.
Not good from Stefan Savic.
No, it was a wonderful save originally, and then it just all went poorly. Did not go well. And of course, Fernando Torres finishing off a sublime cross that found him pretty much wide open in the 6-yard box, easily past the goalkeeper on the header. Good game.
Yeah,
lots of action.
Yeah, as the resident Bundesliga expert, I'll step in, and by expert I mean I occasionally watch the Bundesliga, which puts me ahead of these two.
I've watched 2 Bundesliga matches this year. 2.
I have watched maybe 10 times that. We digress. This was actually a missed chance for Leverkusen, I think. If they keep their focus and don't give up that Torres goal at the end, I actually think they have a good chance. Maybe not a good chance, but a chance at the Calderon of getting a result and going through. They have attacking firepower, Chicharito, obviously, but also guys like Kevin Volland, Bellarabi, who I thought looked great yesterday. But Madrid's class shone through. I'm not sure that I fancy them to go too far in this competition, but that late goal will ensure that they move on another round at least.
Yeah. Reed, what get your thoughts about this? You are a Diego Simeone I don't even know what to call him. You love him.
Disciple.
That's a great word for it.
Yeah.
Atleti obviously not having the greatest of seasons domestically, both in the league and in the Copa del Rey, as I think that they are out of the Copa del Rey and are significantly behind in the title race, and you can basically sign it off because it is La Liga. Do you think Atleti has another shout in them? Obviously, they've been to 2 of the last 3 Champions League finals, haven't yet secured one. Do you like them going far this year in Simeone's and Griezmann's and the stadium's last gasp?
Forza Internazionale, mate. Like, he's gone. He's going off to Italy. He's gonna buy his son. Like, it's gonna be like a Michael Bradley situation, except like they're both like really, really good at what they do. For those of you guys who don't know, Jacob Simeone has a son playing in Serie A, not for Inter, but negotiate that price
Torino.
pretty easily. No, it starts with a C, but I can't recall it well enough to pronounce it correctly, so I'm just deferring. I really don't think Atleti have the legs in him, and I think you're gonna. It's very uncharacteristic for a Simeone team, but you really got to think they're going to be a bit disheartened.
If you were wondering, that team that his son plays for is Genoa.
Genoa.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
Not
well.
Geography, not a strong suit for some of the
That
points of the
is
spot
not
brass.
true. Not true.
but we will not touch on that right now. Yeah, I don't know. Atleti is one of those teams that just shows up randomly. Last year they were struggling and then bounced Barcelona out of the Champions League when Barcelona was in terrific form. They had just been on their game unbeaten streak. I don't know.
They're just a little too inconsistent for my liking and backing to go too far in this.
I agree. I do agree with that. Another thing that's interesting out of this match, Javier Hernandez leaving Leverkusen at the end of the year to sign as an MLS DP.
Oh, I really hope so.
There's lots of rumors surrounding him going to the Galaxy or a number of other franchises.
LAFC.
LAFC is a big one.
Yeah. But anyway.
We'll move on. The second match of the day, of course, AS Monaco traveled to Manchester to take on the Citizens of Pep Guardiola. This game was all over the place. All over the place. To give you all an idea, Raheem Sterling scored early, 26th minute, 1-0. Everything's great. City hadn't played that well, got their goal, can move on. Wrong. Falcao, great diving header. Just a few minutes later to tie it 1-1. Then things got even worse. As Mbappe.
I'm not sure if there's an accent over that E or not.
We don't know.
We'll figure that out later.
The 18-year-old for Monaco, who's got a lot of attention from clubs in England, buried one past Caballero. Aguero tied it 2-2. Then, of course, we saw that unbelievable Falcao chip. Unbelievable. Fabulous. Aguero, 3-3. Things were going wrong when John Stones bags the fourth goal to put you up against Monaco. And then Leroy Sané finishing off a classy bit of passing from Manchester City to make it 5-3. Game all over the place. 2 missed penalties. 2? 1?
1.
1 missed penalty. It was a nightmare. Reed, I only have one word for it, and that is scenes, taking out of our favorite David Vujanic. What do you take away from this game, and what does this tell you about the Champions League?
Full surprises. You never really know what you're getting into. And almost it's full of surprises because I wouldn't really have backed City to win that in a shootout just because Monaco just score goals, man. And they have the legs in them to run all match. They're young. In Pep's sides are not known to come back. Like that's not really in his DNA. It's not in their DNA to go down. So the contingency plans for winning a shootout are not many. But it's good to see. I think it's good for English football. I think it looked
good for English football because
sorry. I think it looked good for English football because you really got to back them to go through, 3 away goals isn't great, but I'd take it.
Yeah, I mean they made it to the semifinals last season. Best run they've ever had. Knocked off PSG along the way. People weren't expecting that. I don't know. This is what Guardiola is at the club to do, is to win the Champions League.
Because that's something Pellegrini never could do.
Yes. Granted, he did get them farther than – they won the Cup Winners' Cup, that weird mucked-up tournament back in the day. But this is why Guardiola is at the club, and I think it's showing a little bit. Also, no Gabriel Jesus, no issue. What do you think of Aguero?
Well, he kind of has a chip on his shoulder at this point after everyone's saying – that there's the new it kid in town and they can ship Aguero off to Italy. or Chelsea, as the case may be, and that they don't use surplus to requirements, but he proved that he's still, one of the finest target men in the world. I will say, though, that this game is 100% not in the bag for City, given how shambolic that defense is. You had, the defense is why they gave up those 3 goals. I mean, they were offensively firing on all cylinders.
Otamendi is so bad.
Dominating. Otamendi with conceding a terrible penalty. John Stones, poor positioning. And then Calabero is, as good as Claudio Bravo, which means that fat guy from Sutton could probably play in goal and be an improvement. That's going to be kind of their bugaboo. And like Reed said, Monaco is a team that when they come out at home in the Principality will have all their young guns blazing. They can score goals in bunches. And if they can get out to a hot start with those away goals, they don't need to do too much. So Monaco, obviously not the favorite, but I don't think City really can be pegged as too much of a favorite given their defensive struggles.
Yeah, Monaco is definitely, if you look at their league form, it's a lot of like bang, bang, 1-2. They'll hit you quick, and then they're up 2-0, which is
relax the rest of the game.
Yeah.
No, hold on, real quick in that. What I really am optimistic about is, well, perhaps optimistic is a disingenuous word. What makes me happy to root against City for the next match is you really got to think this Monaco side is a strange combination of both too young to be scared yet and to let it affect them, because you have like the Falcaos, you have the Subatics, they have some well run players in their bag, but they also have this core of very young, talented, fearless players. So, I don't think Falcao is going to be intimidated in a Champions League knockout stage, but at the same time, I don't think that those 3 18, 19-year-olds that, start in every week the occasion either.
Yeah, it's certainly a little bit almost resembling RB Leipzig, but that's a whole other discussion. We're going to take a short break now, though, guys. Join us for part 2 of the show when we discuss Wednesday's matches. Not quite as fun, but still a good amount of UCL action to go around.
Why did you guys pause it like that? That really threw me off.
I muted the microphone because I had to burp.
Oh, and then that's why Andrew laughed. Okay. Because I wasn't like paying attention, and then I saw it go pause, and I saw Andrew laugh, and I was like, what's happening?
Nothing a little Reed editing can't fix.
It's true.
True.
I think, okay, we're just going to do it in 3 parts. We're going to talk about the next ones. They'll have like a really brief, like, best thing I've seen all day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to point us in the direct? I haven't seen the best thing you saw all day, so I can't really discuss it.
Yeah. Here, I'll bring it up. The best thing we've seen all day. Literally, they put these things out to make the grass green at stadiums. That's Goodison Park. Look at this in Dortmund. Look at the whole fucking thing is covered with them.
Usually they just use pesticides for that shit.
Look at this.
Fertilizer.
It's crazy.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, okay. So that's what we're talking about. We don't need a lot of scientific. It's going to be like a 4-minute segment.
No, I know. I wanted to know what it was.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah,
okay.
cool.
All right, we're back at 5, 4, 3. Welcome back to part 2 of the show, everybody. Of course, it was a match week, and with any UCL match week, that means Tuesdays and Wednesdays, not Thursdays, because it is not the Shame Cup.
Europa League's the best. Come on, you Spurs.
Today's matchups, a little bit less, explosive, I guess is a good way to put it. Some fun narratives in it, though. We'll start with Porto and Juventus, of course, 2 absolute geezers playing in between the sticks on either end of the pitch with Iker Casillas and Gigi Buffon.
We're going to get into the best thing Jack saw all day later, but the best thing I saw all day was Buffon and Casillas trading shirts at the end of the match.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
It was a nice touch. It's good to see it. This game, though, was kind of a snoozer if you actually want to break it down. Nothing really happened until about the 70th minute. Juventus goes ahead 1-0, kind of just finally broke down that stern Porto defense, and then super sub Dani Alves subbed on 73rd minute, scores a goal, 74th minute, 2-0. From there, Juventus, the old lady, they're just, doing what they like to do best. They've got a lead. They're sitting back. They're defending well. True Italians.
And they're up a man. We're gonna give a shout out to Alex Telles for picking up 2 yellow cards in 3 minutes and getting sent off before halftime.
Yes, that is not what
Not
you want.
good.
Also attributes to the defensiveness of Porto. Reed, we do know that you love the Portuguese sides. You have any hope for Porto in the return leg when they travel to Turin?
Oh no, especially not setting them up away, because sometimes Porto and Benfica, you got to really look at them at home because they're so comfortable there, because they just have a way about them in the league. They kind of, it's unfair to say they walk it, but play very well at home, and they can catch some bigger sides.
They pretty much walk it.
It's a 3.5 horse race. So, Chelsea, because, Chelsea are, kind of strolling the Premier League. So I just, let he without sin cast the first stone kind of a situation.
Reed, question for you.
What?
How many fingers do you have on one hand?
5.
How many years in a row has Juventus won the league?
No, Jack. I said in the Portuguese league, it's not quite a walk.
Oh.
Yes,
I'm out of
yes.
context.
So I was saying, yeah, I was saying the Portuguese league, the Portuguese teams that play in the Champions League, especially at home, they tend to feel very comfortable going
It's been
forward.
one of those days.
It has been one of those days. But yeah, no, you really can't think an Italian side with a lead at home is not going to go through on that aggregate score.
Especially one with Dybala up front,
Pjanic. Buffon between the sticks. Still rate him as a top 5 goalkeeper, and he's
So easy.
almost
Oh,
40.
yeah, 38.
GG.
But yeah.
Not a great match overall. I do agree with you, Reed, though. I don't want to see the Italian Giants giving it up at home. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think Juventus, I plump them to go pretty far. Depending on the draws always, but
Yeah,
I think a UV Real final would be fun.
that would be fun. You see, this is the thing, too. Juventus, we've seen it when they lost to Barcelona a couple seasons ago. Like I was saying, they walk the league in Italy. Pretty much when you're halfway through the season, everybody else just starts to fall behind. So winning this is what they really want.
And you saw Arturo Vidal, you saw Pogba, and yet you're still pure class.
So good. They bring them equally good players in, obviously. Pjanic is class. I don't know if he's quite the Pogba level, but there were
I think
rumors.
he's one of the most underrated players.
I love Pjanic.
Europe.
There was rumors of the Gunners wanting to buy him. Would have been phenomenal. I know a very, very salty Roma fan who may be listening to this podcast that was upset when Pjanic left for a loyalty reason. But I do think Juventus will go through in this one. And I think we're going to see the traditional powers go through. A match today that happened that had 2 untraditional powers in the Champions League, though. Sevilla 2, Leicester City, the unbelievable, do not belong, out of place. 5th grader playing in the 8th grade league. Leicester City 1. Foxes traveled to Spain, take on a very informed Sevilla side, but just seemed outmatched in the first They seemed outmatched the whole game. Sarabia, fabulous header, down hard against the far post. Kasper Schmeichel had no chance. Of course, that's after Kasper Schmeichel saved a penalty in the 9th minute. And it was at that moment when he saved that penalty, I was like, no way is that the fairy tale for Leicester going to continue. I thought it was for sure going to be that. Sevilla was too much. Correa finishing off a wonderful goal, beautiful outside of the foot flick. And then, of course, Jamie Vardy in the most Jamie Vardy having a party style of all time. Danny Drinkwater, early ball across. Vardy one time hits the bottom of the crossbar and goes in. Reed, we'll go to you. What do you think? Any hope for them when they return to the King Power to get through?
You know what? With an away goal, stranger things have happened, my friend. Stranger things have happened.
Andrew?
Yeah, it's Leicester, so that would be the most Leicester thing ever to win 1-0 at home and go through on some like Vardy or Drinkwater
But
goal in the 8th minute.
Isn't that the most Leicester thing ever? Season's on the line. Okay, basically their 2 goals right now should not be getting dropped and fucking winning the Champions League because that's all they got left going for them. Would that not be the most Leicester thing ever? 1-0 at home, sweaty Jamie Vardy goal, advance, make it to the final 8. Would that not be the most Leicester thing ever?
I don't know. I'm kind of rooting for the perpetual Europa League champions to keep going through because
I like Sevilla.
Sevilla, they're not flashy, although Leicester made them look like Barcelona today. I'll tell you that much. They're not flashy, but they get the job done. They remind me a little of Spurs in some ways. I'm not a Sevilla full-blown supporter, but they're kind of a fun team to watch. They also play in the Europa League a lot, so there's also that comparison with Spurs. But
Sevilla drawing one of the other Spanish sides in the next
Would be
round
fun.
would be. I don't know if Barcelona's going to make it through. 4 goals is a lot to overcome, but a Sevilla Real Madrid Final 8 matchup. We saw how great that Copa del Rey and then league game when Sevilla beat them twice, or drew once, beat Madrid once. That was a fantastic little 2-game series over 5 days. What do you?
Just one more. I think it's interesting to draw a contrast between the very grizzled, experienced European, in terms of European competition, that is Sevilla versus Leicester. And, Sevilla won't be intimidated, might not be the right word to use for going to the King Power, but like they're not going to be nervous that they're kind of walking on pins and needles in terms of giving away this lead. They're going to, I feel like they can go out and take care of business. But Reed, what do you think?
I don't know. If this would have been last season before when Emery went over to PSG, I would back Sevilla to go through. Unai Emery, he knows the European Cup competition. That's what he, that's how he pays his bills. That's why PSG brought him in. But I feel like I really don't know if Sevilla have it in them, and it would be possibilities that, going from the south of Spain to the Midlands, they won't quite cope with it well.
But well, let me ask you this: some of these ties are handedly over. PSG. Well, I hate to say handedly against Barcelona going back to the new camp, but Barcelona's in horrid form. PSG likely to go through Bayern, guaranteed to go through Atletico, a substantial lead, Madrid with a grip on the game. What do you think would be a fun matchup in the second round? Would you like this, or in the next round, in the final 8? Would you rather see like an Atleti Real or Real Bayern? What do you want to get out of this? Are you for the fairy tale club, or you want the Giants to make it to the end?
Perhaps not the best matchup, but the matchup that would make me the most excited to see on paper would be another Juve Bayern match. Because remember, it was either last season or the season before. I think it was last season where it was just a cracker of a 2-legged affair. That was beautiful. You had Kingsley Coman, a player who Juventus on a 2-year loan with an option to buy that Bayern have already indicated that they're going to activate, scoring against his parent club to send the team that he's on loan with through to the next leg of the next stage of the Champions League. That's bonkers. Like
terrible managing. Who agrees to a loan deal where your loanee can play against the loaner? Do you ever do that in Football Manager?
Okay, no, it's a rule of the German FA that loaned players can play. I'm not sure how it works with international loans, but I know within the Bundesliga, the German FA does not forces on loan players to be able to play against their parent clubs. But I really think that whole Kingsley Coman loan deal is really going to. He's looking to be one of the best French players to come out since that Pogba and Varane situation.
Coman is good.
Yeah, he's good.
That'd be a fun.
I think and I think the color schemes match up well, and I think it would just be a good time.
Lots of stripes.
Yeah, a lot of stripes, a little bit of black, a little bit of red.
Something that we all are very excited for: the debut of Jack Kelly's segment on the podcast. Stick around for part 3 of the show, guys, and I will be back to take the reins in a solo little rendition for the first time ever. Enjoy the music.
I like when you say enjoy the music.
This has been one of the most just like casual podcasts we've ever had.
Really.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I like it.
The matchup I want to see, Jack. PSG, and then I want Monaco to go through.
That would be fucking fun. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Talk about like PSG have a chance for the first time ever to make a deep run. They gotta go up against this upstart.
I'm just saying. You want the hottest of fucking hot takes? Arsenal blow 4 by Bayern in the first half. And then Bayern bags an away goal and trolls us, and we fucking lose, and you beat Bayern 4-1. Is that the most Arsenal fucking thing? Play really, really, really well, and then manage to lose. God bless.
That would be. I don't think it'll happen, but it would be funny.
It'd be fucking fun. Hey, I thought they were gonna do it when they went on 1-0 on Barcelona in the new camp.
Oh, I remember
And then
that. I remember
last
that,
year,
yeah, yeah.
and then Messi was like, no. Or no, Suarez scored twice. He was
Finger wag.
Louis came out and said, no, I gotta bite this dream here.
I think that should be the start of the podcast. Louis came out and said, I'm going to bite this dream here.
No, it's gonna be. I already decided it's gonna be. Do you guys want to hear the hottest of fucking hot takes? No context. Not gonna give them the hot take Jack said.
Also,
But that's how the pod's gonna start.
Jack Kelly earning us the explicit tag with the F-bomb in the second part of the show.
Yeah.
I should really just
Have we
file
got
for the explicit. No, I don't know
Yeah.
what iTunes like regulates that shit, so I think they just will eventually change it, or you have to
Okay.
apply for it. We should maybe apply for
we
it.
should
We're
probably
probably a
apply.
family-friendly show, though.
Okay, but I want to apply for it, so then like I don't have to choose my words carefully. You know what I mean? I want to commit to a brand identity. You know what I mean? I don't want house moms listening to this podcast.
You're right.
Wow, okay.
You're right.
Sexism from this podcast.
Well, that's just not my target market.
Ray, do you not know how to use capital letters either?
Me, I choose not to.
It's
It's
the
a-
world is
Is
your
it one of those
oyster.
things where like the little letters get offended that you capitalize some of them and not others?
Yeah, it's an aesthetic thing. You know?
Hey, when you go in to upload today, you should change it to like all of the titles so they just say episode blank colon blank instead of point to the spot colon episode colon.
What do you mean?
You'll know what
Like,
I
get rid of,
mean.
get rid of that first point to the spot that you said we needed to put in, and Andrew said that's dumb, and you said to do it anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one. Okay, I'll do that.
do it on all the tracks.
How do I log
Still
in?
dumb.
I don't know how to log in on iTunes. I don't understand how.
How
the
log it
iTunes-
on iTunes?
It just syncs.
Okay, no, but what I'm trying to say is like, how do I look at? Can I look at like what's happening with our iTunes stuff or no?
I can look at it.
Okay,
You want to look at it?
tell me about it one of these days.
I've never looked at it, but I will.
Look at it.
Usually
I'm
we do
curious.
really well on SoundCloud. We did really well a couple weeks ago. We had like 400 plays in a month or something.
Yeah, it's decent.
People
We
will go
average
back
about
and listen to our old stuff.
25.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is interesting.
Which is
Yeah.
cool. The
We average
weekend one
about
had pretty good
25.
response.
Yeah. Oh, the weekend one was a blast, and they was killing Twitter as well. Yeah, did a lot.
27, like some of them 26, 27, 28, 40 on the first one. Andrew, you're just killing it. No, I'm just kidding. Okay,
Breaking you down.
we're back at 5, 4, 3. Welcome back to part 3 of the show, everybody. This is Jack Kelly spearheading, words are hard, his own segment. This is exciting. I haven't gotten to do this. My kids have let me out of the house to work on something. Of course, they've only given me a very brief aside, and this is a part of the show often that'll just end up randomly at some point, and we're going to be calling it Best Thing I've Seen Today. Of course, what is the best thing I've seen today that you're wondering? Well, a dear friend inquired to Reed and I earlier about if stadiums use artificial light on their pitches to keep them green. And lo and behold, they do. This is a common thing, a common practice throughout Europe. Everton, of course, posted a photo today, which sparked it. There's these literal little lamps that shoot out like UV lights. It's really weird. Other stadiums that have known to do it, Dortmund pretty much covers their entire field with it. And when you think about it intuitively, it makes sense. Why are these pitches so green in this part of the world, especially England, where it is always cloudy? There's no sunshine in England. Everybody's sad all the time. That's why you got a bunch of pessimistic football fans. So yes, I digress. The greatest thing I've seen all day, the best thing I've seen all day, stadiums using artificial UV light to keep their pitches green, because I think that is absolutely hilarious.
I never thought we'd talk about ergonomics on this show, but we did.
I'm a hack botanist. So, Reed, do you have any funny things to add about this artificial light?
No.
Oh, one final thing that you may be wondering if you follow us on Twitter at Point to the Spot, number 2. Yesterday, I made a reference that a certain member of this podcast was very similar to Manchester City.
Yeah.
If you're wondering what that tweet reads. It read, quote, Reed and Manchester City have a lot in common. Make sure to listen to tomorrow's pod to find out why, unquote. Reed, would you like to know why you are like Manchester City?
I would. That was a concern for me.
Yesterday's game was a prime example of kind of every story you have ever told Andrew and I. Starts really well. And then everything goes wrong for you. But somehow you pull it out of your butt and everything works out. That's why you're like Manchester City.
Oh boy, that's actually a good point. That's on, dude. Quick aside, not podcast related, but Jack had this thing where he would every day, every couple of days, he would tweet an adjective in this chain of tweets that just in some way described me or our interaction that day, and he stopped doing that. And I miss it.
I did. I'm sorry. Maybe it'll make a comeback. Maybe it'll make a comeback on the Point to the Spot Twitter. Of course, that's all that we have for today's show. We hope that you enjoyed the UCL matchups. If you're watching, and if you actually do watch the Shame Cup tomorrow, make sure you see if Tottenham Hotspur can overcome a 1-0 deficit at home against Ghent.
Home, in quotes, because Wembley ain't been home for us in Europe this season.
True. Things are not looking great for the other North London club. But I digress. Thank you all very much for listening. Make sure that you follow the show on Twitter at Point to the Spot with the number 2, of course. That's how you can keep up on all these funny antics that the three of us share with one another. Make sure you're following our partners, AmericanEPLThoughts.com. You can find them at American EPL. Of course, you can find each of us individually. Reed, where can they find you with that little blue bird?
At that one kid Reed, man.
He is a kid at heart. Andrew?
At Andrew Ball, BAHL.
And of course, you can follow me, find me on Twitter at actual Jack Kelly. I am indeed actually Jack Kelly. And this was another episode of Point to the Spot. So thank you all very much for listening, and we will be back this weekend to take a look at some Premier League action. A very, very exciting fixture for Reed in the EFL Cup final because he is a lover of the League Cup. And whatever nonsense the three of us come up with. So until then, enjoy the rest of the week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Sunday.
Cool.